Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Psychic Wives podcast. I'm Kathy Rumsey.
And I'm Jerry Carabin.
And I'm Ginger Hendry.
And today we have a repeat guest with us. Mary Dalba is here to talk about this week's topic of conversation, which we laughed about that we all forgot what we were talking about. But Mary is such a fantastic guest that we would find something intriguing to use up our time with her. So hello, Mary. How are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me back. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited too, and I'm excited because we did figure out that we were going to be talking to you about auras, and I'm particularly fascinated by this. There's actually a metaphysical shop near me that does the aura camera.
Oh, fun.
Which I've never done before, but I'm like, oh, should I spend the $35 to go get my auras? And so I'm gonna don't know much about them, about how you differentiate what colors mean what, all of that. So we can kind of just let you jump in and start talking if you don't mind.
And
Oh, I
start
don't.
from the beginning if you don't mind, Mary, because there's some people, I'm pretty sure most people know what an aura is, but maybe there's some people that are saying, what the hell's an aura?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So,
do they know what it means?
Start there.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So auras are the energy fields that are outside your body. And so think about when you go into a place and you feel the energy of the place. You're like, oh, this feels like a great place. I feel like I've been here before. Or, oh, there's something feels weird in here. Well, you're feeling the auras of people in the room or people around you. So it's something really important to pay attention to because when you're in tune with that energy, it can help guide you on whether or not you want to enter a certain place
Yeah,
or
keep walking
talk to a
in.
certain people.
Right.
Right. So that's really important, and it's usually auras are about 6 feet off the body. Um, Sometimes if they're huge, I mean, they can be, you say someone has a huge aura, a huge energy, that's their aura, they're really out there with it, or someone's feeling like pulling it very close because they don't feel so good about things, or they may not literally feel good, their auras are very pulled in and tight. So if you think about someone who isn't feeling good, or if you're visiting someone in the hospital, unfortunately, sorry for that, but their auras are very small, they're very close to them because they're just trying to hold on to their energy. So it is something that we all are familiar with, but we just never, you hear, I just get this feeling that person didn't feel right to me. Well, that's why, because you're sensing what's in their aura. And what's in their aura is their energy of who they are and what's going on with them. So if someone doesn't have necessarily maybe the best intentions, or they're hiding something, you can feel that. You can feel something's off. Or they're very open and embracing of you, or they like you, you can feel that too. It's just, I think sometimes we, are too busy looking with what's right in front of us to feel that different kind of energy. And we, with intuition, same thing, we kind of just push it aside and say,
Right.
well,
We're looking with our two eyes instead of our third eye.
third eye.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this might also explain a little bit when people that are very empathic, and when sometimes I'll say to somebody, you're quite empathic, and they're like, what? That's kind of what they're feeling, somebody else's aura.
Yeah.
And so you can feel the auras, but some people can see the auras as well.
Right.
And-
So in the spiritualist tradition, for folks that know Arthur Finley mediums, those folks can see auras and actually do readings through the auras. Other people do it too, but that's where I really learned how to do it is, looking at someone's aura and be able to tell 6 months out and a year out, you can see what's coming in their aura.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is amazing. The other way that folks, and I've learned this different places, is that I used to do this in corporate meetings. Like I used to have fun with the people I worked with because, it was a corporate job and I was a psychic. Um, but if you're in one of those really stark white rooms, which a lot of corporate meeting rooms are, and if someone's sitting there, you can kind of relax your eyes and look behind them. And usually the colors will spring out onto the wall. You can see the colors. Now, that can take practice. If you do it once and you're like, oh, I can't see anything, don't fret, it'll come. But then you can see what's going on in someone's aura. Like I remember I was in a meeting and I was looking at someone and I can see their head was a little bit cloudy. And I went over afterwards. I'm like, do you have a headache? And they were like, yeah. How did you know that? I was like, oh, I kind of felt it from you. You weren't yourself. I could see it in their aura.
Yeah, right.
Interesting.
So
And so do you see different colors?
you can, yeah. And also, here's another thing I'll just mention, that depending on what's going on with the person, the colors can shift. So when you mentioned, Kathy, about the camera, it's taking a picture where your energy is on that day.
Right.
So it's not like if you take a picture 2 months later, it might be something different. Like if you've gone through an initiation or an attunement, say you
Yeah.
go from Reiki to master, your aura is going to shift because
Okay.
there's different energy in there and different spirits. Because you can see
Right.
spirits and auras too,
Interesting.
if someone's hanging out with you. Yeah. So sometimes if someone's saying, I feel like the spirit's with me, and I feel like you guys have probably heard this, the spirits around me, or I feel sometimes if you look, you can see them hanging out in the aura. You can just see a very bright white energy.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
that's usually a spirit. So you
I
can
have
see
a
that in
question
the aura
about
too.
the
Yeah.
seeing piece, Mary. I was
Mhm.
curious whether we're seeing with our eyes or you're seeing in your mind's eye.
Mhm.
Because I know
Oh, that's a great
some mediums say, I always think of Matt Frazier, who just kills me.
Right.
Mhm.
But he's always says, I see people standing behind you. And I'm like,
Right.
I'm thinking, do you see here? Do you
Mhm.
see here? Like, what do you see? Because for me, I see in my mind's eye.
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't see with my eyes. So I'm just
Right.
curious
So
when
I'm
you,
going to jump in here for a second because it's interesting, because I wanted to say that there's also aura or energy fields around like plants and like,
Yes.
everything. And
Mhm.
it's really funny because there's this particular, I have a pool and I'm a bit of a sun person. And so I will lie out by my pool. There's this one particular tree that's just this huge, massive, it's like 50-foot tall hickory tree. And it's just the greenest of the green. And when I stare up at it, I can see the very white aura around this
Mhm.
tree, and I'm actually seeing it.
Mhm.
Um, so do you think there's a difference? I'm actually seeing that. I know I am.
Yep.
And I know
Yep.
I can practice and look at somebody if they're up against a white wall or something and
Right.
and see it. But is it both?
It is. So the white layer around it's usually the first layer that's close to the body. You want to try to look a little bit further out,
Okay.
because everybody usually has a white something around. If you're looking at them, they have a close, their energy
Okay.
just kind of coming off their body.
Yeah.
But then you want to look a little further out. That's why I said it's about 6 feet out. You can kind of play around with that a little bit. I think, Ginger, to answer your question, it can be both. I know, like, so say for psychic work, sometimes you're seeing things clairvoyantly. It's in your third eye, your mind's eye. Sometimes you're seeing someone stand behind someone, like you're seeing a spirit. You're like, oh, okay, there's someone there. So I think it depends. I'm with the aura, I'm actually seeing it.
Okay.
As you guys, I'm gesturing my two eyes like I'm pointing.
Yeah.
But you're using that intuition in there too, to look at what's going on. So it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both, I would say. Yeah.
And so can we talk about the colors? And do they have,
Sure.
are there meanings to them? Are they the colors of the chakras? Are they what, do you know what I mean? Or is it just a
I
feeling
do.
that comes with the color?
No, so well, it's interesting. Again, some people they train that if you really want to get to know colors, I think there's 35 shades in each color. You should try to sit with every shade, which is amazing. But I have not done that.
Wow.
But so I think part of it is I do associate a lot of colors with chakras, but also like I associate colors with just certain feelings. So like if I'm seeing someone's aura where it's cloudy or it's dark, I might think there's something going on there more than
Mhm.
just this is like a deep red, maybe something showing they need grounding, but also it may be showing there's something else going on.
Okay, can
um
I interrupt here for a
yeah.
second? So, okay, so are you saying, because there's a camera that Kathy
Yep.
spoke about the camera,
Yep.
and so
Yep.
this color means this, and this color means this, and this color means this.
Hmm.
Is it the same for everybody? Or like you just said, could it be that like this color represents this for me?
Yeah, so the camera is usually the chakras. The camera's usually working
Ah,
off the
okay,
chakras.
okay,
Okay. If you're looking at someone, that's where you have to kind of go into the color a little bit.
okay.
This is, I mean, so everybody has their own style, but what I found when I really want to get deep in there with somebody, I'll go into the color, like energetically, I'll go and I'll say, what is this color telling me? Because that color could mean something different to the person who's sending it off. Like if I'm
Mm.
happy, my aura is purple because I love purple. I'm like,
Right,
oh,
Right,
let's do
right.
it,
exactly.
But and also it can be connection to the spirit, but it's also, like I it's a happy color for me. So really, if you really want to read an aura, you want to go into that color and ask it what it's telling you. which is working with this is a way to work with the colors. And I just want to say to folks out there, don't be afraid to say, well, what are you trying to tell me with the color, this deep color ruby red? What are you trying to tell me with that? And let the color tell you, it will. This is a little a side note, but people sometimes say, well, I have the spirit following me around and I don't know what they want. I'm like, did you ask them?
Right.
Mm,
Yeah.
right.
I can do that. I'm like, yeah.
Yes,
I
Yeah,
that's
you
think
can
what
that's
ask
we're
a
there
big
for.
thing, and
Right,
I just
right.
wrote that down. What does this color mean to me? And so I'm glad
Right.
that you just said that, because I think that a lot of people, especially when they're like just kind of dabbling with their intuition, they don't recognize that you're kind of in charge. You
Right.
can ask these things. It's Ginger and Kathy. It's kind of like when, we would be studying animal communication. It was like, go back to the animal and ask.
Right.
And you're
Well,
like,
I was
oh
thinking
yeah, oh
that you
yeah.
I was
Or
thinking
go to
that
the
you-
spirit that you have, that you're connected with. Well, what does that mean?
Because I remember, Kathy, you saying that to me. We had a conversation about being able to pick up a scent, which is not always that common when you're reading somebody. And I was saying that once in a while I could smell like cigarette smoke or cigar smoke, and no one smokes in my house. I'd be in my house. And Kathy said, "Did you ask to see who was there?" And I'm like, and here I am doing this. Or no, it never occurred to
No,
me.
never good.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we have the power to do that.
Yeah.
So Mary, do you read people's colors over Zoom? Like, can you
Um,
do that, or does the computer screen kind of mess up the translation, I guess you might say?
Yeah. Yeah, the color, the Zoom kind of distorts for me. I usually ask folks to send me a picture because it's a freeze in time, you know what I mean? And I can pick
Okay.
up, but Zoom, like with the energy, it gets a little,
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable that it's completely accurate. I'll be honest
Okay,
with you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
But you
I-
get it that way. So somebody emails you a picture of
mhm,
themselves, and that's how
Yeah.
you're able to, that's what you base the reading off of.
right, because it's
Gotcha.
got them, it's frozen at that moment. And I try to get them to do, even I'll say, take your camera, give me something recent. Like, don't give me something 5 years ago.
Right,
Don't,
right.
don't
Because
do
you're
that.
not the same person you were 5 years ago.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah,
Let's hope not.
yeah.
I
Right.
know.
Oh my God, right.
So
Right?
when you talk about being able to read like 6 months out or whatever,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so let's say you see the white and then
Mhm.
whatever that color is, do you see multiple colors? Like if you, like the closer to the body might be 3 weeks and then
Right.
that kind of thing? Okay.
So I look at it as layers. So
Okay.
you have the white, right? And then the next layer is going to be 6 months out. And the next layer of that is going to be a year out. It starts to get a little too fuzzy when you go a little further than that. But those, yeah, I look at it as layers of coming out of the body. So
So do you just are you looking at the aura around the entire body? Or are you focusing on headspace? Or you just like, do you know what I mean? And do you
Yeah.
different areas, because you mentioned the chakras before in the
Mhm.
camera, like different areas represent different things, or no?
No, so usually the camera's taking you from kind of mid tummy up. So
Yeah.
usually when I'm reading someone, that's where I am.
Okay.
Um, I have someone though that's come to me before that was sitting across from me, and I was like, oh, there's something, going on around the knee, and that kind of popped out. But usually I try to focus on the tummy up for somebody, and that the camera does the same thing. The camera is usually you're sitting in a chair and they take a photo of you, and then
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff are happening. But I'm looking around someone, so you can see my eyes kind of moving when I'm reading someone. I'm like, all right, what's happening over here on the left? What's happening over here on the right? There could be different colors coming in left and right, depending on what's going on. Because the aura, you got to think about it. Like, our lives are complex, right? We have all kinds of things going on, so our aura is going to reflect that.
Mhm.
Usually people don't have one certain color aura. It's usually some blends of colors, because you got a bunch of things going on. You may be thinking about something, and then you're running off to here and you've got this project to do. So your aura is reflecting all of that energy.
Mhm.
And again, if you're happy, your aura is going to expand out. If you're not so happy, your aura is going to pull in. So you can feel that, like again, this is something we deal with in day-to-day life. And we say to someone, you don't seem like yourself. Well, their aura is probably pulled in,
Right.
because they're just like, "Ugh, I'm just
Right.
not feeling it today." Whereas if you go to a night, so this is kind of interesting, and you really have to protect your aura, because if you're in a huge crowd, and you're bumping into different people, right?
Mhm.
Which now with COVID, we're starting to come out into big crowds again. Concerts are happening, events. You're bumping into people's auras. You can pick up stuff from other people's auras. That's why I'm sure on Instagram, Facebook, all that, you've seen those memes about being intimate with somebody. You know, you're combining auras. So when you
Mm.
separate, you're not just pulling your aura back, you're pulling
Part
your
of
aura
theirs.
and their aura. It's blending. So and you can pull other people's energy in with it. So it's kind of important. Like if you go out to a concert or you go out to, an event, a restaurant even. I always just try to put like I call it like a little force field around me to
Mhm.
protect my aura, because I don't want anybody taking my energy. I mean, I'm sure we've all experienced this. You're out somewhere and then you come home and you're exhausted and you don't
Mhm.
really know why. It's because, someone was pulling your energy away from you.
I
Or
just
when you would. Mhm.
Oh, no, no, no. Keep going,
No,
please.
I was gonna say, or you're with somebody like I remember again when I was back in corporate, I met I was new there. They were introducing me to a bunch of managers, and I walked into the room to meet this one manager, and I was like, oh no,
Mhm.
no. And we looked at each other, and I could tell we just didn't like each other. We didn't even know. Like we just looked at each other, and they introduced me to him, and I was like, okay, I need to get out of this room. Like I need to get out of this room right now because his energy was just so. Oof. And we never really could sit next to each other. We couldn't get, we couldn't. It just wasn't, because his energy was just so toxic. So
And so
anyway,
do
that
you
was.
ever sage after, like, let's say you go out somewhere and you're around a bunch of people and you come home and you feel kind of icky, like
Mhm.
you've picked up. Do you sage yourself? Do you
Yeah, you can use herbs, like sage. I also use I'll take, sometimes if it's really bad, I'll take a like a cleansing bath.
Mhm.
So I'll get some hyssop and I'll get some just a couple of herbs I'll throw together into some cheesecloth. I'll throw it in my bath and just rinse myself from head to toe and let it
Mhm.
go down. I
Mhm.
wanted, since I'm getting it off, I rinse it from head to toe and let it go down the drain so that it just pulls all the energy off me. Some people like to do the sparkly shower where they imagine
Yeah.
a shower head above them and all the sparkly energy coming down and
Mhm.
cleaning it out. But you can do it all kinds of ways. But like if you're at something that's really, there's partying, there's all kinds of things happening, you may need to take a cleansing bath because you
Mhm.
want to just get that energy off of
Well,
you.
especially the more aware you are, the
Hmm.
more, yeah, like these,
Yeah.
because I'm sure that the people who listen to this podcast are probably pretty in touch and feel
Hmm.
those things. I just this weekend held a equine facilitated learning workshop where we actually played with energy fields, and we were talking about the energy fields of the horses, but
Yeah.
I teamed people up in pairs and had them play with walking into each other's energy fields, and it was for a few of them like the first time they had ever really consciously thought about, oh right, and they were able to feel, and that was the best part, was that they were able to feel when they crossed an energy barrier or when they
Yeah.
hit a line of energy. And
Yeah.
then we talked about how when you're right up next to each other, how your energy fields are mixing, they're
Hmm.
touching, they're mixing, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And when I'm a shamanic practitioner, and when you're going to shaman school, you get all these different rites given to you,
Yeah.
presented to you. Sort of like in Reiki, you're getting attuned.
Right.
Shamans
Right.
are doing that to you. And one of the things they do is they give us the bands of protection. And so it is like um, it's an energy field, and I
Hmm.
can, if I need to, kind of puff it out a little bit.
Hmm.
So move it out away from my body. And it's really funny if you're in an elevator and
mhm.
you do that, you
Yeah.
can actually see people subconsciously,
Moving
physically moving
away.
away from you.
Yeah. Yep.
They don't
Yep.
know. It's not like they're looking at me like, what the hell? But they're like on
Hmm.
their phone, but they're moving away.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so it's really
Yeah.
cool when you do those playing with those energy fields. Super cool.
Yeah.
I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you, can you give us I'm not asking you to tell us about a certain client or anything, but can you give
Yeah.
us like an example of what you would see somewhere? Like,
Hmm.
okay, so you see a certain color and then you say, like, is it an emotion you see? Is it trouble coming forward? Is it them stuck somewhere? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what
I
is
do.
it, an issue?
Yeah, so this, I'm thinking about a particular client that I read, and her aura on the first layer, which was around the 6 month period, was really this bright, beautiful sky blue. And I said, I feel like, so, I felt into it. And I could hear that she was thinking a lot. And, in the sense of the thoughts were very like, I really wish for this. I really want for this. I'm reaching for the sky kind of feeling. And so I said to her, like you want to get these things done over the next 6 months, but you're feeling like they're too high up in the air. They're too much in the sky. And she was like, yeah. And I said, so then we talked about that. How do you bring them closer to you so that you can do that? And then the next layer was more of this like, let me think for a second. So she had some yellow in there, but then she had some green. So there was like a little bit of a mixture. Like I could see the yellow was like this, almost the sun stripe. You know what I mean? And it was in the middle of the green. And I said, okay, so the green to me is very healing. But also for her, I felt like it was nature, green nature. And then that sun streak of like, making her mark in this world of being grounded and being kind mother and all that. So, like you feel into it.
Mhm.
And she wanted to do a lot of work where she's doing work with children.
Mm.
So it was that mothering type of energy, but really wanted to make her mark. And this particular woman, her videos, when she does videos online, they're very much geared towards kids. So they're fun and like playful and things like that. So, and she was like, oh my God, but she didn't feel like she could do it because she felt like it was too big. It was too pie in the sky. So if you think about it, our auras are telling us what's coming before it's even happening. So she was getting caught up in these thoughts are too high in the sky. I can't accomplish this. But it was showing within a year, if we could kind of figure out some things she could do, she could bring it more down to earth. So a lot, yeah, I can tell you a lot, but it's just by the color. And then the only way I can describe it is you feel in or you tune into that color and let the color tell you what it means.
So it really is like another modality
Mhm.
that we do for clients to try to be of service to them, to help them move forward, to help them grow, to help them expand. So it's you're seeing a certain color and then you're diving into that color. What does this
Right.
color mean? What are you trying to tell me? So it really is, it's another super cool
Hmm.
modality to psychic modality, intuitive
Mm.
modality.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
really
So
interesting.
for you, the colors don't have anything to do with the chakras.
Well, it depends.
Okay.
Most of the time when I'm feeling in, I let it tell me what it wants. And sometimes it is like a chakra thing. Like,
Okay.
if I, again, that red color, red, if red gets muddy, if I see like a muddy red, I'll say, oh man, this person's not grounded.
Right.
So, that gets a lot, or there's something really going on in their basic needs life that they need to address. So maybe
Yeah.
this may be a person who's not really taking good care of themselves, or they're disassociating too much or anything like that. Um, so yeah, it depends. It can, I think for someone who's learning, it's not bad to springboard off of what the chakra colors mean. It's not a bad thing
Yeah.
to
For
do.
anybody who doesn't know, the chakras each have a meaning, obviously, and a
Mm,
color
yeah,
associated with them. So she was talking about red, root chakra.
yeah,
So different colors, different for anybody that's going, what colors, chakras,
yeah,
what the heck? You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Have we
But
done a show on chakras? We did a while ago with Julie.
mm,
We
Hey,
should,
that was quite a long time. That was
that
quite a
was quite a
while
long
ago.
time ago. So
yeah.
now we're going to write down Mary
Yeah.
chakras.
Chakras.
I know.
Right.
Mary, be back
So we
next
know
time.
the
Yeah.
next time what you're talking about.
Awesome.
So is
But
there, what else should we know? Because I really know nothing about, like I said, I know nothing about the auras. So, what else is there that we should, that is like Aura 101 kind of thing?
yeah, I think really just be aware of the fact that you have control over what comes in and out of your aura, the energy of,
Mhm.
if you want to control how you're feeling, like I'll say it like this. We all have that one friend. And sometimes you're like, do I really want to be around this person today? How do I feel? Like, what's my energy feel like? And then you can create some protection around you. So if you are going to go see that friend, that
Right.
they
You can
can't,
handle it.
stick
Yeah.
the vacuum cleaner in and suck all that energy out of you. It's and if we're kind of walking around willy-nilly and not being aware of our aura, then it can create things that we don't really want to deal with. Like, I don't want to be tired, you know.
Right.
I don't want to feel exhausted after I see a certain person. So I think that's a big thing for folks to take away, is that you have control over how you interact with people. And, you know, if your aura is giving you a sign, if you feel this energy from this person, then you should listen to that, because again, it's not always obvious with the two eyes that we use. So
Right.
And the
yeah.
cool thing is, it's, you know, so some people would look at this like, oh my God, there's a dark color in my aura. Oh crap.
Mm-mm,
Well, it's
mm-mm.
not that. It's an opportunity.
It is.
Being aware of your aura. And now for some people that might be like, oh, I didn't know that. It could be fun going out to the grocery store and just,
Right.
you know, standing next to
Mhm.
somebody and just saying, oh yeah, don't like that. Or yeah, that's
Yep.
pleasant, or, you know, whatever.
Right.
I mean, so not to look at it as there's no control over anything,
Right.
or there's this bad stuff and I just have to sit here and kind of, you know, wait for it
Deal
to,
with
you
it,
know,
right.
curl up in a fetal position on bed and wait for it to go away. Excuse me. No, it's like
No.
you can protect that aura and you can
Mhm.
use it to your advantage
Yeah.
to, you can choose
Mhm.
based on it. I love that piece of it,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
do.
very well.
I do too, because I think, you know, again, like since COVID, we're opening up a bit more. And
Mm.
so we're getting into big crowds, and we're going back to the office. You know, we're doing things where we're interacting with people more. So just to keep that in mind, because, you know, we've been pretty isolated for a while, or we've been around people we know. Like, you know, we've kept
Right.
the circle small. So the
Right.
circle is getting bigger now. So to protect the aura so that it doesn't, you know, you don't go home and you're like, wow, or hey, I feel really great and I want to extend my aura out and I'm feeling happy and I'm seeing all these people I love and this is great and we're exchanging, you know, energy and it's great. So I think keeping that in mind, that it's something that we can be aware of, protect ourselves from, you know, anything like that, or just expand if we want to, because we're super happy. That's great too.
Yeah.
Do you think I mean, can we read our own auras?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I've done that where I've stood against a wall. I'm sitting next to a purple wall, so I don't do it against this wall, but I'll take a picture of myself up against a white wall and see what's going on. And
Okay,
sometimes I'm
so a
like,
picture is
oh,
better than like staring in a mirror or something like that.
um, you can do a mirror, absolutely. I usually like to just take the photo and then because I can
Then you're
expand.
staring. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I can expand and do stuff like that. I can play with it. So looking in a mirror, sometimes I'm like, well, okay. But yeah, no, I've done that before where I take because selfies are strong these days. So um
There's a new iPhone out and that camera is
right,
perfect for aura.
right, right. You know, if
That's-
only. If
That's the
only.
next thing they'll have, is the aura filter on the iPhone.
Yeah.
You know,
That'd be great. Right.
Wouldn't
On
it?
dating sites, they mess with their auras. So they're like, oh yeah, I'm really, yeah.
That's right.
Oh boy.
That's cool.
So how easy is it, or how hard is it to learn how to do this for somebody if this is an interest to them?
Mhm.
There are classes that somebody can take, or where would you need to be to start to be able to do this?
Great
I
question.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to practice it when you're out somewhere and just
Yeah.
relax. And really, the big thing is to relax, because if you're like it's with anything. Like if you're so
Don't
trying to clear
try,
the
allow.
spirit, yeah, just relax and let your eyes. Really, like I said, corporate environments are great. You know, restaurants are great because the walls sometimes are just this lighter color you can see, and you can kind of play with it. Um, you know, it's
It's kind of
nothing that.
it's kind of like that magic eye thing. We've talked
Yep.
about this in the
Just
past.
gonna say
Sarah.
that when
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
to like relax your
You
eyes,
ha-
almost half close them to see that hologram, or whatever they're called.
Whatever, the
Hologram,
picture
yeah.
in the picture.
The picture
Right.
in the picture.
But if you're
If you're
trying to
standing
see
staring
it,
at
you're
it,
not going to see
you're
it.
not gonna see it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
But if
So it's
you
this.
kind of, so that's what she's saying, by
Soften your
relax your
gaze.
eyes and
Soften
Yeah.
your gaze and
soften your gaze.
and don't
Soften your gaze.
try. Right.
Nope.
Right.
No.
We
I used
say
to
that
grab
all
my
the
friends and be
time.
like,
We say that
Go
all the
ahead.
time because Kathy and Ginger and I have all taught animal communication classes and stuff, and different classes, and people are like, I'm trying. And the first thing we say is stop doing that.
Stop
Right.
trying.
Stop trying.
Stop trying.
Yeah.
You have
Don't
to
try.
allow it to happen.
Right.
You can
Right.
do the things like, okay, I know I have to be against stare at a wall or a picture or something, and I know I have to kind of like soften my eyes, but other than that, you just have to wait. But isn't that kind of like all our intuitive stuff?
Right.
You know, it's like, okay, this morning I was doing some automatic writing And I was just like, okay, fingers on the, I do it on my keyboard because I type so fast, but just close my eyes. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna wait.
Yep.
Gonna wait. Where is it? You know, I set my intention and now I'm just gonna wait. And not try, just see what comes in. Trying is such a bad word.
I know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, it's so detrimental to this particular field of
Yeah.
work is the more you try, the less you're gonna get. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And trust it too. Like I used to, I was starting to say, I used to grab my friends and be like, stand up against this wall. You know? So, and they were like, why? I'm like, I'm practicing something. Just stay still, you know. But the more you practice, the more that you can blend into it and see it. And then you can kind of run, you know, you can run with it. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I hate to say it, everyone, but it's practice. It's
Practice, practice.
So is this a, I'll call it a skill for lack of a better word, or an ability? Is this an ability that you always had? Is it something you had but you took classes to learn how to hone? Or did you just have the ability and you honed it on your
Or
own?
was it a natural progression from something?
Yeah, so it's really funny because I couldn't understand why I could see stuff coming from one of my friends' heads. One day it was a color. I'm like, the heck is that? And then
There's red shit coming out of your head.
I'm like, well, no, I did want to, like, I rub my eyes. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what? You know? So it's funny how spirit works, because at the time I was taking classes at a metaphysical place down in the South Shore of Massachusetts, and they had an aura class. And I was like, oh, okay, let me go do that. And then it all came to, the teacher was like, so let's practice again. And I was like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So that sort of, I got curious, and then I was like, well, it's got to be like their energy thing. And then I saw the aura. Do you see colors? Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah. So and here's the other thing I'll just say, like books, and this is the same thing I say about tarot. You have someone who writes a book. Books are great. I'm not discouraging books. However, they are the perspective of the author. So if they're telling you about colors and you're like, I don't really know if that's green. Is that what? I don't know if green's really that. Then go with what your intuition is telling you, because you'll be much more on.
Right.
Yeah.
Same thing with tarot. So it's a nice guide and it's a nice way to start. But really, the best way you're going to get good at this is through practice. So if you do grab a book and you do get some color basics, that's fine. But also realize that, the colors may be speaking to you differently. So trust what you're getting, not necessarily what the book is telling you.
So I think this is kind of, sorry, Ginger, I think this is kind of like a good place for that question. So I know Kathy and Ginger and I, when we do readings, like I see there's certain symbols, like whenever it pops in, I'm like, okay, I know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Do
Yeah.
you have that in there? Like sometimes we're like, oh, okay, I know what that means. Or is it really always different for everybody? Or do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I do.
asking?
I do. So the one thing I do know with auras, when I see those like bright white lights, that's a spirit. That I definitely know. I usually springboard. So I'll say, okay, I know red usually is grounding. I need, the basic need, but let me feel into it a little bit more
Got
and
it.
see what else it's telling me. So
Got
I
it.
do use that as a springboard.
Okay.
Same thing with the tarot, like again, with readings, like if you use tarot cards, okay, the card is, the tarot card's telling me, woo, this, but what else is that? Is it, there's an ending for a new beginning? Is it, what else is it? So you gotta go deeper. If you're going to be a good reader on anything, as you all know, you have to go deeper.
And I love that we've had our friend Tara Lewin on doing tarot cards, Tara doing tarot. And she's very much, it's so much more. It's not like pick the card and then read the book.
Right.
It's what is that, because that death card doesn't always mean what death, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you that intuitive piece of it is where the magic, for lack of a better word, comes into it. Ginger, I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
I'm curious about this. I'm just figuring out how to word this. We don't do any intuitive work without permission from the person. So whether it's cards or whether it's an animal communication reading, whatever it is, healing. Is this kind of the same thing? Like if we talk about going to the grocery store, it's really what we feel from somebody else, right? We're not actually, is that like a violation of ethics somehow to read somebody who doesn't know we're reading them?
Well, but here's the thing, my aura is coming in contact with their aura.
Yep.
So I'm sort of like, we're next to each other. And
Yeah.
I'm just trying to take care of myself.
Yes, so
So
that's
Right,
my
so
point.
it's not
Okay.
like you're going into the, like when I said going to the grocery store, it's not like you're going into the grocery store and I'm
To do a
diving
reading.
there or
Right,
seeing what's wrong with them or what's going on with
Right.
them.
right, right.
I'm standing next to this person and I'm saying, "Ooh, gosh, that doesn't feel very good. I'm gonna
Mhm.
pull, I'm gonna do," like you just said,
Right.
Mary, what's most important for me right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's, and you can't help feel, man, I was at a football game a couple years ago. It was, and I hadn't been to a football game in 40 years. Since I was like a kid. And it was a birthday present for my husband. And so we're at a football game and oh my God, if you're an empathic person and somebody who
Not
reads
the place to
energy, oh my God, I
Mhm.
thought it was gonna die. You're
Mhm.
crammed into this thing, and plus it's football, so there's a lot of testosterone or
Oh, yeah.
or
Mhm.
same type of feeling energy around. And I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I made it till just about halftime. And then we went down under, and everybody's like, okay, great, let's go back. And I looked at my husband, I'm like, I can't. I absolutely can't. He totally understood, so I just found myself a nice little table in the shade and had a beer and watched the game on the TV that was under there. But I
Yeah.
was so much better there than being up there. And it's like I could do nothing to control
Mhm.
the feeling that I had except to get away from it. You
Mhm.
know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's an aura
Yeah.
thing. That's
Yeah.
you're blending with
Mhm.
so many.
That's how I am with shopping, the grocery store or
Yeah.
Christmas shopping. I
know.
can't.
Me too.
can't.
Yeah.
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 So because we can, but this is a great discussion because now there might be some people that are like, why am I so uncomfortable grocery shopping? Or why am I so uncomfortable at a concert? Or why am I so
Right.
uncomfortable? Now you know.
Now you
Right.
know.
Now you know,
Yeah.
and now you can do, like you said, you can make your energy feel bigger and a little stronger and maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Or my friend,
Yeah.
like you said before, Mary, you said the sparkly shower or whatever.
Shower.
Yeah.
She used to call it an M&M shower before she went out. So like the candy coating that goes over the
Oh,
M&M.
Oh,
yeah.
that's a great
She
idea.
would put that over
Yeah.
herself before she went out
Yeah.
into the world
Into the
Yeah.
world,
or
Yeah.
into where all the people are.
where all the people
Yeah.
are.
Yes. But I'll tell you guys a little bit of it's a like a bleh story. But before, when I was just learning about auras and not really knowing how to protect myself, I went to a nightclub with a girlfriend of mine, and we were dancing and we were having a great time. And she of course thought I knew how to protect my aura. She didn't say anything to me. I went home that night. I had dreams that cockroaches were crawling all over
Oh,
me. So I called her and I was like, how were your dreams last night? She was like, I was fine. I was like, I wasn't. And I told her and she goes, oh yeah, didn't you like take care of your aura? And I'm like, what am I doing? She's like, all right, we're gonna talk about this. So it was like this weird, but I kept dreaming like there was cockroach. I kept like trying to pull them off of me and they were all over me. And it was just the energy in the club, now I know better.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
it
that's
was,
so interesting. Well, this
Yeah.
has been so interesting. Thank you again, Mary, and
Sure.
we know you're coming back, so you'll be.
yeah.
and I wrote it down. I wrote it down.
You wrote
So
down
we'll get with
Yay.
Mary again. What are we talking about? Although there is something to be said when we're like, I don't know, let's
Yeah,
just
what are
throw
we
something
doing?
out
Try
there.
it.
There is something to be
Yeah.
said for that. But one of our topics with Mary will be chakras, and the other might be some magic talk that we were talking about before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very fun. So
Awesome.
Mary, we've asked some guests in the past, and I figured I'd ask you today as we close up the show.
Sure.
We totally stole this from,
Inside the Actors.
thank you, Jerry, Inside the Actors Studio. Just- I won't go through all the questions because I don't have them in front of me and I don't remember them, but what is your favorite swear word?
Oh. Can I swear?
You can.
Oh, okay.
I click the explicit thing on the podcast. So you
Oh,
can,
okay. Okay. So my favorite is fuck because
Yeah.
it can be used as an adjective, a noun, whatever. This fucking fucky fuck.
it can
So
use bad, it can be good, like
good.
fucking hey.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I feel it's a very versatile word.
Cool. Two more questions. The next one is, if you could have dinner with any person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh, well, I'd have dinner with my dad. My dad passed away in 2014. So he'd be the first person I'd grab.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
My
awesome.
mom did as
Definitely.
well.
Yeah.
Same year.
Yeah.
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 So
And,
that would be number one.
awesome.
Mhm.
And if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you reach the pearly gates?
Oh,
Yeah, that might be a
gosh,
hard one.
that's
off
a
the
good
cuff.
one. For me, I think it would be, you did good by us, girl. You
Awesome.
did what we were asking you to do. That's what I hope.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's
Yeah,
really
It
beautiful,
is. It
actually.
is.
Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on
Thank
again.
you.
For
I'm-
everyone
thank you.
listening, obviously you found us at thepsychicwives.com or on Apple or Spotify with finding us as The Psychic Wives. We are on Facebook, The Psychic Wives. It's a little redundant.
Kinda hard to miss
And
us.
you can find all of Mary's information on our guest page of our website. So www.thepsychicwives.com. Until next time.
Be well.
And be kind.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.